The 2024 Wisconsin Senate race is shaped up to be one of the most competitive of the year. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video. Today, it is time to talk about the 2024 Wisconsin Senate race because most people including myself, thought there was really no shot of winning this race in 2024. I mean, you had Tammy Baldwin still running, and it seemed like Republicans really didn't have anyone to run because people like Tom Tiffany, hell, even Mike Gallagher decided against running, and everyone thought it was going to be some nut job like David Clark. Well, in just 2 to 3 months, that has completely changed. 2 to 3 months ago, we were thinking no shot of winning the seat. But now, there's this odd sense of optimism that, hey, maybe we can actually beat Tammy Baldwin this November. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, let us get right into it, because this is a huge development. I mean, like I said, 2 to 3 months ago, no one thought we had any chance of winning here. Despite the state being a 50-50 state and more than likely going to Trump in November, despite all of that, most people thought, it's not going to go Republican. And the biggest reason for that is, well, you're going against Tammy Baldwin, who, while is an overrated incumbent, she still is an incumbent, and she does have a history of outperforming expectations. But now, there's a good shot we can win the seat. I'm not saying 100% we're going to win it, but now there's a possibility of us actually pulling off an upset. Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin, whose Go Everywhere 2018 strategy became a model for how to win in Wisconsin, knows her victory this year against a multimillionaire Republican supporter of former President Trump goes through places like New Glarus. Now, for those that don't know what this strategy is, if you don't know the Chuck Grassley strategy, essentially it's that, but in Wisconsin. And the idea is, okay, we're not just going to campaign in one county, one city. No, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to campaign in every single part of, in this case, Wisconsin. Which I think every candidate should. Whether it's Republican campaigning in Madison, Milwaukee, Menominee, etc. You should campaign everywhere. That's how someone like Tammy Baldwin is able to win counties that Trump won by like 30 points in 2020. You know, that's why she's able to win these areas. She doesn't run it up through Madison or Milwaukee. Yeah, she might do better than Biden in some of these areas, but her biggest overperformances come in Trump areas. That's the part of the state that she outruns Democrats in the most. It's a lot like Brown in Ohio, just not in Ohio, but in Wisconsin. The bucolic village of 2200, founded by Swiss immigrants and famous for its spotted cow craft beer, is a world away from the urban Democratic strongholds of Milwaukee and Madison, where Democrats like Baldwin and President Joe Biden rack up massive margins of victory. And I think this is smart. Listen, that may not seem like a lot of people, 2200, it's not. But here's the thing, though, about Wisconsin that no one talks about. And that's the fact that these villages, towns, etc., they are what makes up the population of Wisconsin, not Madison and Milwaukee. You can take every single voter from Madison, Milwaukee, and you can even put Waukesha into that column. It's only like 30% of the vote. The rest of the vote comes from the rest of the state. Again, not every part of Wisconsin is a farm, but it's also not just Milwaukee and Madison. Now, to be clear, though, New Glarus, I believe, is just south of Madison. It's like ran the border with Greene County, I believe. So it's not that far of a drive from Madison. You know, they're making it sound like that, oh, she traveled so far away from Madison and Milwaukee. Not really. It's like ran the border with Dane County. But she is technically out of the county, I guess. But they make it sound like that she's traveled so far away, like the complete opposite side of the state, when in reality, no. You travel just outside of Dane. Yes, it is a village, it is a rural area, but that doesn't mean, you traveled 800 miles away from Madison. Look, in a state like Wisconsin, a 50-50 battleground state, you don't have to win every county. Baldwin's sitting in a warehouse surrounded by pallets of nuclear beer sold only in Wisconsin. But it is really critical that you get folks out to vote, and you have the discussions and up the turnout in every community that you can. And she's right. In Wisconsin, it's true that you don't have to win every single county. Like, there's 72 counties in Wisconsin. You don't have to win every single one of them. That's true. But at the same time, you just can't get crushed in 70 of the 72 counties. And that's what she's talking about. Like, hey, if I lose this area by 5 points instead of 15, or I don't know how Democrat New Glarus is, but just an example. Let's say somehow Trump won this area by like 10 points or whatever. Instead of losing it by 10 points, I lose it by 5. You know, it's only one village, but if you just apply that same trend to the rest of the state, that could be the difference between victory and defeat for Baldwin. The likely contest between Baldwin and Republican Eric Hovde shapes up as one of the most competitive and expensive Senate races in the country. A Baldwin victory is crucial for Democrats who are defending 23 seats in the Senate, including 3 held by independents who caucus with Democrats, clinging to a 51-49 majority. That's compared with just 11 seats Republicans hope to keep in their column. And also, forgot to mention the fact that you have states like West Virginia, Ohio, Montana, Republican states that have Democrat senators. So, Wisconsin, compared to the other 3 seats, is the easiest for Democrats to win. Because it's not like West Virginia where it's an R+30 state and Joe Manchin retired. It's not like Montana where it's an R+20 state. Wisconsin's a 50-50 state. And I thought for a while, Democrats were going to hold on very easily. But that thinking changed when Eric Hovde announced his candidacy. And I will be the first to admit, I did not like Hovde at first. I thought the guy was not going to be good, he was going to suck, and he was going to get crushed. The only thing he had at the time, I thought, was money. Like, okay, he has money behind him. We don't have to worry about investing $600 million into Wisconsin. But the way he's running his campaign has changed my opinion dramatically. He's not the next Ronald Reagan, let's be clear. Some of these people are making it sound like Hovde is the second coming. But at the same time, I truly believe Eric Hovde is running the best campaign of any Republican this year. I'm dead serious. I think he has the perfect campaign. And a lot of the questions surrounding him about the California stuff, turns out that was BS. And Eric Hovde's campaign immediately focused in on, hey, my family's like 5th generation Wisconsinites. I've been here my entire life. I grew up here. I was raised here. I'm not from California. That was one of the first things he focused on. Like, hey, I'm Wisconsinite. I'm not a California liberal. Yeah, I have a house there, but I don't live there, every single day of the year. He actually resides in Wisconsin. He grew up here. He's like 5th generation. So he's a true Wisconsinite. But not only that, he is one of the only Republicans that I can think of that has used the issue of abortion and attacked Democrats about it. Yeah, you heard that right. A Republican going on the offensive on abortion. I cannot believe that it took this long for any Republican, except like maybe Trump, to do this. Because what Hovde is saying is, look, I support exemptions. I support allowing a woman to choose early in the pregnancy. But should we really allow abortion in the 9th month? Is that really a good idea? And he went on the offensive. He ran some ads saying, hey, Democrats support late-term abortion. They support abortion in the 9th month, the 3rd trimester. While I support common sense restrictions. Like, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to have abortion in the 9th month. Hovde argues that Baldwin is nothing more than a career politician who has not done enough to address concerns of voters this cycle, like immigration, the economy, and foreign affairs. He calls her nothing but a rubber stamp for the progressive left. And funny enough, one of my favorite ads of this cycle came from Hovde's campaign. And for those that don't know, it was a commercial with 2 bobbleheads, one of Biden and one of Baldwin, and they're both shaking their heads on agreement on every issue. And that's one of the big things Hovde is using this cycle. Like, hey, Baldwin votes 95% of the time with Biden. She's not standing up for America if she's voting with Biden, and most Americans agree Biden's policies are hurting Americans. He is also trying to walk a tightrope with Trump in a state that former president won in 2016 but lost to Biden in 2020. Both elections were decided by fewer than 23,000 votes, and in my opinion, of every answer Hovde has given, potentially his strongest comes from the question of 2020. Now, I do want to be clear. Not every Republican believes the 2020 election was some grand conspiracy with, machines and servers in Germany. That's like 5% of voters that believe that crap. But I would say 90% of Republicans and probably the majority of Americans in general agree on one thing. How the election in 2020 was handled was pathetic. That doesn't mean every American thinks that they rigged it or they stole it. Not everyone believes that. And there are some questions about that. You can debate that. Fine. But most Americans agree, okay, how states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, hell, even Nevada handled the election in 2020 probably shouldn't happen again. Again, that doesn't mean machines flip votes or anything like that, but you can argue people lose confidence in elections when you keep counting votes a month after the fact. That's just a fact. People are not going to have confidence in a system that takes that long to count votes. Now, does that automatically mean the F word? No. But at the same time, you can argue that just makes people lose confidence and faith in the elections. And Eric Hovde had a perfect response in 2020. Do I think it was stolen? No, Hovde said. Do I think there were troubling and challenging things? Yeah. So let's clean them up. And that's it. That's all he said about the 2020 election. No grand conspiracy or just outright ignoring the question like some Republicans. He got straight to the point. I don't think it was stolen, but we should clean up some of the problems that we had in 2020 so we can restore faith in our election system. And let's face it, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, the last 10 years, both sides have alleged their election that they lost in was stolen. Democrats in 2016 said the same thing about the Republicans in 2020. That's not good to have back-to-back elections where the opposing side says you won because of fraud and it was a rigged election. Hovde said that while he agrees with Trump on most of his policies, he will not engage in the politics of personal destruction. I am committed to trying to bring our country together, Hovde said, striking a different tone from Trump, who's referred to Biden as a lunatic and labeled the president's supporters as thugs at the Green Bay rally. We have become way too divisive as a country, Hovde told AP. We need to heal. I'm willing to cooperate, reach across the aisle. Now, some people are going to look at their response and say, well, that means he's a Democrat, he's just part of the Republican establishment and all of that. I disagree. This part here of reaching across the aisle, usually that's a bad thing. But sometimes when there's bipartisanship, it can be good. The problem is most bipartisanship today sucks. But I think, outside of this part of the response, I think this is actually a decent answer. And it shows you don't have to just copy and paste Trump. And this is a problem that many Republicans face today. They think you can copy and paste every aspect of Trump and be successful. Yes, the policies of Trump are super popular. The problem is, many Republicans try to copy and paste Trump on the personality front. They try to act like him. Well, guess what? There's only one Donald Trump. And when you try to copy and paste Trump, imitate his hand movements, use the same nicknames, it just makes you seem like a fake and a phony. But Eric Hovde is not acting like this. He's just acting like Eric Hovde. He's not trying to copy and paste Trump on the personality front. Yes, he might copy and paste Trump on the policy front, but that's popular. That's a popular part of Trump. The personality stuff? Not so much. But either way, this campaign has been ran nearly perfectly. Everything this campaign has done so far, it seems to be working. As he has gone up the polling against Baldwin, while she stays at 45%. There is a possibility that Baldwin could go down this cycle. I still think she's the favorite because she is the incumbent and, There are some questions about funding and all of that, but outside of that, Hovde is the big surprise of the year. And I hope he wins. I think he would be a great senator, and I think he does have a shot of winning. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.